Yeah, 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 yeah. Told my nigga when he get out, he can have it. Yeah, if he want it, he can have it. If he want it, you on the paddock, I buy him a paddock. And she on the paddock, I buy her a paddock. The way I be flowing is so automatic. I flow, I flow, I flow, I flow, I flow, I flow, I flow like now I'm talking.
All right, so here I have two moderators from the account at Plano, Dear Plano ISD. These people have been advocating for other stories, people's stories that have not been able to be heard by administration in the district, and they are here sharing people's stories and try to get a message across. So thank you guys for coming to this interview. I really appreciate it. So the first thing I want to ask is, tell me about the background to this. What inspired you guys to create this account?
So we, like the two of us on the call right now, we're the admins of the account, and what we're about to say is on the behalf of the actual creator of Dear Plano ISD. So the story behind this account isn't really a complicated one, but the creator was talking to one of her family members, and they mentioned that all the school districts in their state and a lot of colleges had a page called Dear ... like whatever the school name is, and she took a look at some of those things that they posted, and it was really eye-opening. And the multitude of things that go on in school districts is like really crazy. And being that Plano is such a small town, she was hesitant to create something like this in the sense that it wouldn't garner enough support. But seeing the amount of stories from the creator's family school district, she was surprised that something like this could even happen. So she created the account one night thinking that it would be something that comes and goes, but the next morning she woke up to about 70 followers, and although it doesn't sound like a lot, it grew really quickly, and our following reached about 2,200 within the week.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it was really overwhelming, but in a good way. And it was such a good thing that the creator wanted to share this process with us, and we became a part of the team. And this quarantine period and the recent events of injustice at the hands of police has made me want to stand up for the people of my community and to provide with them the education they truly need. And so our mission stands behind this quote by Justice Sonia Sotomayor: "Until we get equality in education, we won't have an equal society."
Very true quote right there. And, that is amazing that all this is helping you guys in trying to fight justice for those people. So, what is your plan in getting the proper justice needed for these cases?
So we actually have like a 3-part plan, but I think it's really important that we first state our mission. Our main mission right now is to push for the district to implement a more comprehensive sexual education program. So while we do know that the district's hands are tied by the state with pertinence to education on like things like contraception, sex ed is about so much more than just condoms and bananas. We want the district to implement educational programs earlier in students' careers, so like early middle school, maybe 5th or 6th grade, that teach students a lot more about harassment, abuse, and assault. And we want the district to teach more students about how to identify these sorts of situations when it's happening to themselves, or like with other students, how to identify those sorts of signs and how to effectively address those situations. And so the real idea behind this plan isn't that it's going to like maybe like completely stop like harassment and assault and abuse, but it will make a lot of perpetrators think twice before they try to try anything, because they know that there's a much higher chance that they will be facing the consequences of their actions. a lot of the stories that we've really heard about have been from people who didn't know what to do in that situation. You know, they might have like frozen up, or even afterwards they were too scared to go out and say anything about what was happening to them. And so I really think that if we are able to educate students on what's happening to them, especially at younger ages, because we are seeing that this is happening with like students in younger age groups, I think that will really help decrease the rate at which this is happening. Or if anything, it'll make sure that a lot more people who try these sorts of things face the consequences of their actions. And so our plan comes, like I said previously, in 3 parts. So the first part of our plan is to build a case as to why this educational program is so important. And so we're building this case from obviously the stories that we've been collecting, but we're also doing some external research that delves into how this education can help reduce rates of sexual harassment and abuse, and how it can really like benefit students even at like younger ages. And so the second phase of our plan is to really garner support in the community, and that's kind of what we're doing right now. Not only among students and teachers are we trying to get support right now, but we're also really looking towards parents. The power of parents, especially in a school district, is massive. Parents can really do so much change just by like emailing the district and really like communicating their concern for what's happening and what's being reported right now on forums such as our page. And so we really think that that'll help make a difference and really help with the third phase of our plan, which is to take all of the research and all of the community support and present our case to the district. And ideally, we'd be able to convince them to implement a better program.
Okay, yeah, that's really good. And with everything that you have now, do you believe that this plan will truly be effective in getting that goal to work?
So I think the plan has been pretty effective so far. Obviously, the first phase of our plan is like still kind of happening in parallel to the second phase of our plan. I think we are having some trouble reaching parents, especially because they're not as active on Instagram. And, you know, for our own safety, it's really hard for us to go out and like talk to parents. You know, because of COVID and just because of like who we are and how many people have like, you know, kind of threatened us or tried to come after us and really break down what we've been doing. So we are struggling a bit with the second phase of our plan, but I do think that it's not coming as easy as the first phase of our plan did. But I think it's coming along, and I think that it's a pretty solid plan to get you know, the district to really listen to us and our concerns.
Okay, that's really good. And tell me, like, about your opinion in the way, how do you believe that the district administration, whether it's school administration or the district or both, is handling these cases of bullying and harassment and all that? How do you think that they're handling it? Do you think it's positive, or do you think they're not doing a good enough job, and why do you think that is?
So one really good thing that the district has done is so we did look into Plano ISD's like policy and their student code of conduct. And we specifically looked at the part pertaining to sexual harassment, assault, and abuse. And we found a really well-written and airtight policy. So in concept, the district has done a very good job at really looking at defining what these situations are and outlining the proper procedures to take place. So for example, right, the policy clearly defines sexual harassment, abuse, and assault that students can be expelled from the school for aggravated or non-aggravated sexual assault within 300 feet of the school. And that's one of the things that's very clearly defined. But the problem comes into play when administrators on the ground who have to execute this policy are given the power to choose suitable punishment for perpetrators of this kind of behavior. And that behavior really goes into harassment and abuse and assault off campus. And so administrators really have to decide what the suitable punishment is for this kind of behavior and to decide whether an accusation is or isn't true. And so the execution of this policy is anything but professional. The district lets many of these incidents slide, especially those that have been recorded through the tip line, which we discussed previously for a little bit, doesn't exactly do what it's meant to do. Also, many students who submitted stories also have reported that the district lets many of these cases get swept under the rug, but that administrators don't give adequate punishments to perpetrators. And that's a really, really huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
To make things more frustrating, perpetrators who are clearly guilty of and accused by multiple people barely receive like a slap on the wrist and are allowed to really like continue about their days. And the administration needs to take these issues more seriously if changes to happen and if everyone's to be kept safe within schools.
Yeah, very, very true. And, you know, that goes into play with not even just your mental health, but affects your education too. A lot of kids, they can't even focus because they're thinking about whether it's something that someone said to them that's mind-boggling, or whether they can't focus because someone's like just trying to distract them and make them feel awful. So I think in a sense, you know, the way that they handle things isn't as effective as it could be, but you know, this is what this account is all about, is to make that awareness happen. So, you know, speaking from personal experience, has anything like this happened to anyone on your team? And would you say that that is part of the reason that they are on board with this project, is to help spread this awareness?
So unfortunately, yeah, some of our team members have been victims of either harassment or assault, and they have shared their stories on the page. And I have been harassed by multiple students and a teacher on and off PISD campuses. And more times than not, I've reported these incidents because they're swept under the rug. But I was always told that my harassers had their whole lives ahead of them. But admin, once again, doesn't take into account that I have a bright future ahead of me too. And if these students are getting in the way, they should be moved.
Yeah, I hear a lot of typical things with that, in which admin will state that, you know, this person has a bright future and we shouldn't let this affect how they are or affect their current movements, so we're not going to punish them too much. And meanwhile, you being the victim, they tend to be like, well, you also have a future ahead of you, but we're not going to punish the people who are affecting your future movements, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of scary that, like, you know, they say that a harasser has a whole life ahead of them. Because if you think of it, yeah, it means that, you know, they have space to really, like, become better. But you also have to realize, like, I feel like a lot of administrators don't realize that when they say that, it also means they have a whole life ahead of them that they can just harass other people, you know? And I think that really gets forgotten, that, like, yes, they have a whole life ahead of them, but if they don't realize that what they're doing is wrong and that it's hurtful and that it really, you know, can destroy another person, then they shouldn't do it. And, you know, that gives them space to change, which is great. And, you know, it just really sucks that they're willing to say they have a whole life ahead of them and not realize that that means they have a whole life where they can just go out and harass people and not realize the consequences of their actions.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got a call, so it like cut me off when I was speaking there. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's unfortunate that that happens. So tell me, I know you already spoke about this and some of the other questions, but what is your ultimate goal? And do you hope to accomplish some sort of justice with this plan? I know you spoke on that you want to present this three-part plan that you have to the district, and you wanted to achieve a goal in some sort of sexual education so people can understand that it's more than just what they think it is, that there's more to it than just the basics.
Yeah, so our ultimate goal is to bring awareness about sexual harassment and abuse and assault in schools, as well as to convince Plano ISD, and hopefully, you know, if this goes as well as we really hope it will, like convince other school districts too, to really, you know, try to solve these problems and to bring in and implement more comprehensive education on these sorts of subjects, especially at an earlier age. A lot of the stories on our page happened in middle school, or they would have happened in like elementary school, which is ridiculous. You know, I think as a team, like even like if you want kind of an insight into like how our like office works, like sometimes we have to like take breaks because, you know, some of the stuff that's submitted to us is just so horrific. But at the same time, we read it and we're like, you know, we can, like, because a lot of us have gone through, like, the Plano ISD school system, and we're all like, we can completely see this happening. And that's just really scary, you know? Like, obviously we've had to filter through posts, and there's like the whole announcement on, you know, please don't submit fake stories and stuff, because we have been getting stuff that's, like, obviously, like, you know, completely fake. Yeah. But the fact that we have to, like, filter through posts, and we have to, like, and, you know, sometimes we'll send in a story and we'll be like, is this even real? Like, it's so horrible. Yeah. And we just have to be like, I can't, like, we literally just can't believe it's real. And so we really want to bring awareness to these sorts of issues and educate people on what to do in these sorts of situations.
Very. Now, how do you guys filter through those stories? Like you said, some of them are pretty unbelievable, but they're true. And some of them, you know, you get fake submittals, which is unfortunate. But how do you guys filter through that and determine which ones are real or not?
So one of the main things we get stories that are, like, based on, like, song lyrics, or you know, people will take, like, whenever we ask them what happened, they'll take something that would have happened in, like, a movie or, like, a book, and it's, like, very popular. Mm-hmm. And so obviously while those stories do have basis in very real situations with real people, we don't post that. You know, we had a submission that was based off of the song Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne. And, you know, that sort of post was, like, you know, just really, like, okay, like, this isn't true. You just submitted song lyrics.
Yeah, obviously.
And we've also added more questions about, like, the situations people are in, not only so that we can keep our own records and help build our own cases about, you know, like, what percentage of stories come from middle schools or elementary schools or high schools. And because of that, we see that trolls are less likely to submit a story because, you know, I guess they just don't want to, like, answer all of our questions. Also, after putting out that big announcement, like, a few days ago, saying, you know, like, this is immature, don't do this, we have seen a large decrease in very troll posts. But we don't like to have, for stories that aren't, like, based off of songs and stuff, it's wrong to, like, sit there and kind of think about whether it's real or not, because we really feel we've received a lot of questions of how do we know that what you're posting is real? How do we know that you're not making this up or someone else is making it up? And honestly, at the end of the day, we don't know. But at the same time, there's nothing for anyone to gain from sending in a story. If there wasn't a problem, we as a team wouldn't be trying to create a problem, right? In an ideal world, none of this happens and people are fine, but they're not. And we've seen it happen. We know a lot of these cases are real, and, like, there's nothing to gain from anonymously posting your story. All we're doing is bringing awareness to an issue.
Right. It is unfortunate that you guys have to deal with that. I mean, we hope that it gets to a point where you don't even have to deal with those fake stories anymore, that the stories that you have, honestly, at this point should be enough to present a case. But, you know, it takes people so long to realize the purpose of what you're trying to do. So we wish you guys the best of luck, that you'll continue to fight that. So just the last couple of questions that I have. Do you guys partner with anyone to help get these stories and cases resolved?
So, as of right now, due to the anonymous nature of these stories, we aren't reopening or opening any cases with the police or schools. Right now, it's up to survivors to pursue their cases if they wish. We understand that victim blaming in the process of justice is, you know, rampant, as survivors are asked what they're wearing and blamed for leading on their perpetrator. But as a page, we refuse to publish names in any of our posts and ask that submissions leave out names of teachers, admin, perpetrators, and survivors. And our job is not to get these opened or reopened. Our job is to give a voice to, you know, people who have been silenced or who are afraid to say something.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That you don't want to jeopardize any of these people or their stories and potentially have something happen. And it makes perfect sense why you wish to remain anonymous. These people too. And the only thing that you post whenever you do post their stories is their schools, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay.
So used to post any names of the victim, the survivor, the perpetrator, admins. We do post specific schools, just because I think it makes it a lot more personal to hear that something happened at your school, and we see a lot of people, either like kind of expressing, oh, I can definitely like see this happening at my school, or you even see people like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened at my school. It's my school. It's my like friends. It's my student population. It's my graduating class. And so I think that's really helping people kind of get out there and really like care about what's happening and like kind of like share what's going on with the page and really help like, gather like awareness and whatnot for the page and what it's trying to represent.
Yeah. And I know that my friends have seen the stuff on your page, and with the school that I went to, unfortunately as it is, like people aren't surprised that stuff happens. Now, has any of the schools or anyone from the district or anyone from Plano in general tried to reach out to you guys to talk?
The PTA did reach out to us, and they said that they would be forwarding the appropriate, like all of our page and all of our posts to the appropriate person. And, we are waiting on an answer because we are kind of excited because, if the PTA is willing to work with us, that would be amazing, If anyone in the district is listening, we're not trying to come after you or, like, attack you. We genuinely see this problem within the schools, and we really just want to fix it. We're not trying to declare war on anyone or, like, really, like, accuse the district of being bad, because we do understand that, like, our educators at the end of the day really have everyone's best interest at heart. And I think that, on a page like this, a lot of people in the district especially will be feeling very attacked. But it's not meant to be personal. It's meant to really make the schools a safer place for all students. And so we're really hoping that when the PTA gets back to us, they'll be willing to actually listen to us and talk to us about, really what's going on and help us implement something to do something about it. So far we haven't heard anything back, and we have heard from other students that the PTA is giving them the link to the zip line, which, as previously discussed, isn't at all an effective way of, like, doing anything or getting anything done. So we're really hoping that the district can do better and that they can reach out to us and that we can really, have a chance to work with them and to really implement something that'll do some good. Because even if, the educational system is implemented and works with the district, even if one case is solved or like one perpetrator feels like they shouldn't inappropriately touch someone, or like one person is saved by this educational system, that automatically makes it a success in my eyes, because it would have helped one person. And, ideally the cases in a perfect world will be zero. Like even one case of this happening is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think at least one case, if that was to be successfully pursued, then that would be a miracle. And I can totally agree with you on that, because everything that you've been doing to get that one person justice is amazing. It will make them feel at ease, and that's just one less person that the world has to worry about. And these cases over time would definitely be successful, which we're just hoping for the best. Now, the last thing before we end this, is there anything that you would like to share with our viewers to help gain a sense into the things that you're trying to make happen? Anything you would like to share or promote?
So, like we kind of touched on earlier, our intentions are not to cancel anyone and feed into cancel culture. We know that exposing someone does not help them grow, and which is why we keep everything anonymous. We do suggest that people report misconduct to their principal or assistant principal because under their job description in the Plano ISD website, they are campus behavior coordinators. And we know that PISD pushes that we report incidents to teachers or counselors, but it isn't officially a part of their job. And which is why these reports might be swept under the rug. And we also have been doing educational posts on Dear Plano ISD for things like how to know if you're in an abusive relationship or, you know, certain hotlines for people who need it.
Okay.
And we'd also really like to thank you for this opportunity to be able to, like, you know, speak about what we're doing and, you know, like I just thank you for helping us get our message out there. Like, we really, really appreciate it. Like, I can tell you, like, when you first, like, you know, contacted us, like, in the group chat, we were so excited to be able to talk.
If I'm being honest, I thought you wouldn't answer me. I thought you were just going to blow it off at first, if I'm being honest. But I no problem at all. Like, I'm really happy to see that, you know, you guys are active in making this happen. It's been going on for so long, and I know that I personally myself have had my experiences of horrible things that have happened at Macmillan and Plano. Didn't mean to say the school, but things that have happened in Plano ISD personally that I have experienced, and I know many people have too, that the administration has no idea about, and it's so unfortunate. But I'm really glad that this is a way for people to express themselves, express their stories. I think it's a great way to do it, and I'm really hoping and wishing for the best for you guys, that you are successful in everything that you're trying to get done. So I really appreciate you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for this interview opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you very, very much.
No problem. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
We just being some gas. I know since he was a jet. All of my nigga legit. All of my nigga legit.